Warning, the Stone Age Gamer includes a lot of bad language. Cover your mother ears.
Good evening and welcome to the Stone Age Gamer Podcast. I'm Kris Randazzo and joining me tonight is Gothic Architecture, Dan Ryan.
Oh, just full of gargoyles and sex. It's awesome.
The end of March is upon us, and that means it's 10, 20, 30, 40 time once again. Start a dancing revolution because the Stone Age Gamer Podcast starts now. Dan, you start dancing revolutions all the time, right?
All the time. Footloose is based on my life.
He doesn't just dance, he dances. Hi, everyone. It's episode 352. It's the week of April 2nd, 2021, so we're a little behind on the 10, 20, 30, 40, but you know.
But who's counting?
There are no rules. Who cares?
Right.
How you doing, Dan?
I am exhausted, Kris, because as you know, I painted my house today. And it came out lovely. I'm very, very happy with it.
Yeah,
but,
the pictures look nice.
I don't know if you've ever painted a house in a day. But it's a lot of work, man. Yeah, no, especially because there's plenty of daylight in that before shot too. Yeah,
so
no, it was an all day affair, all day process.
You were definitely booking it. No, I've never actually painted a house because, well, I've never really had a house before. We've always lived in when I was born, we lived in a trailer. You're not really painting that. Then we moved into, we couldn't afford that anymore, so we moved into a tiny, tiny apartment with my grandmother. So you can't really paint the outside of an apartment. And then we lived
but they really frown on it.
They really do. We
really
were up
fans.
A lot of stories, too, so it would have been very dangerous. And then we lived in a townhouse, and we weren't allowed to paint that because,
right.
It has to match the rest of the townhouse.
That's right.
So this is actually the first proper owned house I've ever really lived in. So I've never had the opportunity to paint a house, and I like the color of this house. So I'm probably not going to wind up painting it anytime soon. I have to remove some paint, which we talked about before the show a little bit. But yeah, your house looks pretty snazzy. Yeah,
I'm very happy with it. It's a lot of work, but ultimately I think it made it look a little better. It's kind of fits more of our personality now than the kind of grayish that it was before.
It was definitely generic house before.
Yeah, right? It was a house.
Yeah.
And it's a great house. I love the house itself.
Yes, the inside is quite nice, and the outside is shaped pretty cool.
Yeah, but it just looked meh.
Well, that's the thing when you buy a house is that it was somebody else's before yours. There's an NRA sticker on my garage door window that I cannot get off, and I need every time I look at it, I'm like, I gotta do something. But it's it was placed on the inside facing out, and it was painted over a couple of times, and it's one of those metal stickers that just. It's effectively part of the window now.
Yeah. Somebody's real serious about their love for the NRA.
Yeah, somebody really liked guns and God who lived in this house. Apparently, we found out that this house used to be the house that the minister lived in from the church that's in our neighborhood or something.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Don't go digging it under any floorboards, man.
I mean, we have a finished basement. I'm not going to be digging through this floor because then I'd have to replace it.
That's a good point. I'm just saying there's got to be some weird shit there. Somewhere hidden.
No question.
Without without a doubt, right?
Yeah. I'm not even going to, nope. Not even going to think about it.
No. So you mentioned Dance Dance Revolution.
I did.
And my daughter... Both of them, actually. It's fun. The world that we live in, Kris, it's a weird-ass world. So, there is a game called Friday Night Funkin'. Okay? Funkin. And it is a downloadable PC title, and it is a rhythm game. And it's got the same arrows as Dance Dance Revolution, and you play the songs with the arrow keys or the WASD keys, right?
Okay.
Up, down, left, right, top, bottom, whatever. So what's weird about this, right? So it's pretty good. All right, overall, it's pretty good. There's some stuff like Katie is doing some of these songs like on expert, and it's like it's through the fire and the flames level difficulty, and she's like rocking through it, and she's like, "Oh, I only missed 7 notes that time." I'm like, "You can go fuck off." Like I couldn't even get through. She was like, "Do you want to try that?" I was like, "Yes, I am very good at rhythm games." And I got like 0.8 seconds into the song. I was, "Get this shit away from me. I don't ever want to see it again." But like what's crazy about the world that we live in now is that this game Friday Night Funkin' exists. And then she shows me all of the stuff that is on TikTok about Friday Night Funkin'. And then she shows me all of the stuff that is on Discord that then leads to the whiteboards like they use in school. Now they're creating whiteboards so that their friends, when they're chatting with each other on Discord, can join whiteboards together and draw stories together about the characters in this game. She downloaded like 6 or 7 mods for the game that are like corrupted and this and that and whatever. And then there's a version of Friday Night Funkin' in Roblox that they also play.
Huh.
It's bananas. It's bananas. There's lore involved with this game now, like stuff about it, like it's fucking crazy. And like not for nothing, for like a downloadable game, it's really good. It's really fun, but there's so much going on with it. It's just crazy, man. It makes me wonder what things would have been like for us if like all of this stuff had existed when we were kids, and like would people have been out there making mods and Roblox versions of like Mario and shit, you know? I don't know. It's odd.
Yeah, I often wonder about that kind of stuff. Like I just met my wife's friend had us over for an outdoor dinner. They both got vaccinated because, you know, lucky them. And so we had this, lucky you. We had this outdoor dinner, and we're just kind of like hanging out for a while, and her husband was talking to me, and eventually just kind of, making like regular small talk, regular, like, guy, the husbands are talking, small talk and whatnot. Eventually got around to like
sports ball, my balls.
He had absolutely no idea what I did, and when I started talking to him about Stone Age Gamer and stuff, he was just like, "What? That's amazing!" And like, he's never really been into video games, but he's had like, it was neat hearing this guy's history of video games. Right? He had an Atari when he was a little kid, and then like a Nintendo. Then he had a Game Boy, and then he got a Virtual Boy for some reason, and then he didn't get. He got a PlayStation 1 as a gift, and he traded it for an N64 because all of his friends were playing GoldenEye. And then he got a PS3, and that was it. But he recently got a black and white Game Boy, and I was talking to him about how like you can mod that stuff. He was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "Yeah, you can get mods for your Game Boy screen, so you can play it." And I didn't even
so you can see it.
I didn't even touch the concept of an EverDrive yet. Like I didn't even want to breach that with him, but I've completely lost the thread of why I was talking about this. What we're talking about.
Mods and games and.
Oh yeah. And I was talking about like how, he was not one of us, he had video games in his life, but like I was a kid.
Not a gamer.
Yeah. I was a gamer. And that was, I remember talking to him like, yeah, that was it's weird now because it's cool to like video games now. Everybody likes video games now. But when we were kids, liking games the way that I did was not
cool.
It was frowned upon by people who weren't me and my close friends. Like, yeah, we were the nerds and we were picked on because of that. So yeah, it's I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's fucking weird, man. It's just weird watching like all this interaction that they have and all this stuff that they do. And like it's strange for me too, because I'm like, you guys don't like, why don't you have like friends? It's weird, like you don't have people that you like want to hang out with and like go to their house and stuff like when we were kids and whatever. But like they do have friends. They hang out with their friends all the time, and they actually do really cool, interesting, creative stuff with their friends. Like they draw whole stories and like, I mean, they're not really comic books that they're doing, but they do whole interactive stories together and like all this crazy shit that they do, and they just do it all virtually. And like, not just because of the pandemic, but the pandemic has certainly exacerbated that sort of thing. But I don't know, man. It's cool. It's different. I don't really have a point to it other than that. Just you reminded me of it with Dance Dance Revolution. And you should check out Friday Night Funkin'. I think you might actually kind of dig it.
I feel like I've played a game like it before.
Yeah.
I remember a long time ago somebody showing me something that was basically DDR on a PS2 controller, and I was like, okay, I can wrap my head around this, and then I never, tried.
I can wrap my head around this. I don't want to, but I could. I'm not gonna.
So, have you been playing anything of note?
Let's see. What have I played? I spent a stupid amount of time with Puzzle and Dragons this week, because there's been, so in certain dungeons in the game, there are rare invades, much in the same way a lot of RPGs will have that sort of stuff where like, every now and again you'll get this one like crazy boss encounter if you just run this shit over and over and over and over again. And one of them is this really hard dungeon called Ultimate Coliseum. And in Ultimate Coliseum, Achilles, legendary hero Achilles, can spawn. And I had, in all the times that I'd run it previously, I had spawned him once, and he killed me. And it was like 6-7 months ago. Fuck, man. Damn it. He's not anything that I'm ever going to use. It's just something in the game that I don't have, and that made me angry. So I was like, fuck it. This week, they were doing an event where it was 2 times the normal invade rates for Achilles and for this other one called Gazlo. So I'm working on Gazlo this week because Achilles not only has his regular form, but also had an equipped form. So I was like, fuck, I need to get 3 of these. Because in order to evolve Achilles into his equipped form, you need an Achilles that's evolved to use. It's a whole thing. So I spent a lot of time farming that stupid ass dungeon that I never want to play again, and thankfully never have to play that dungeon again. Because I got my 3 Achilles. Now I have to work on Gazlo. I played a lot of just because baseball season's about to start up, so I was like, fuck it, let me see how the show 20 runs on the PlayStation 5, and beautifully would be the way to describe it. It is so much more crisp. Again, running that fucking consistent frame rate that locks 60 frames a second at 4K is just magical, man. It is, love it, gorgeous. So, been playing a lot of that, and I was also, right before I came down, I've been continuing on my playthrough of Avengers, and it is still super fun. Like, I see a little bit more now where people were like, okay, there are 9 million different things to do and equip and gear and missions and daily missions and weekly missions. And like, oh my God, there's a lot of stuff going. I like just wanting to get through the story. You have to kind of wade through a little bit of bullshit, but I feel like the gameplay is rewarding enough that it is most definitely worth it. And I am having a really good time. Like, jump into a mission as the Hulk and like run around and smashing shit and picking up rocks and chucking them at people, or grabbing enemies and slamming them around and jumping in the air and doing like a big fucking elbow drop is really cool. And then you switch to Kamala Khan, and she's got her stretching powers, and even though it's the same buttons, right, like there's not special moves or anything, it's just your basic kind of attacks and whatnot, the character feels just completely and totally different to play through it. and then you switch to Iron Man, and it's like, all right, I can fly now, and that's really cool. And there's different missions with Iron Man that, like, they've done a really good job tailoring certain missions in the game to the individual characters and their strengths, to where it's just really, really fun to play as them. And I've been having a blast with it, man. For the $30 I paid for it, I can't go wrong, right? Like, you can ignore all the other bullshit. I'm not worried about getting the legendary gear and all this stuff from random drops. If you run this same, again, kind of like Puzzle and Dragons, if you run this same mission 900 times, it might drop once. Like, I'm not looking for that from this game. I'm looking to play through this story. The writing is great. Once you kind of get past how they look, because like we joked a lot about before, like Walmart Avengers, and they do still kind of look like that. But it is an interesting blend of like the MCU and the comic books. And once you kind of take it for what it is, the writing's really good, the voice acting is really good, the game is absolutely gorgeous. There's lots of really cool like nods to other stuff, that like famous Marvel comics kind of stuff. One of the big villains that you fight early on is Abomination, and he's, just massive, giant Abomination. Looks great. The main villain is looking like it's going to be MODOK, and that's super cool to like actually see a threatening, scary MODOK. They're doing a really good job with it. I don't know, man. I'm having a blast with it. I really like it.
Well, I am once again glad to hear you say that, and I will continue. I will just once again tack on. We're still having a blast with Marvel 3. We're in the Dark Dimension, and we just beat up Dormammu. Because apparently that's a thing you can do. And
come to bargain.
The heck did we do after? Because we just beat Dormammu, and then we saved at the next place that we got to, and now I can't remember where it was. We got out of there, and Doctor Strange was like, because like you can't kill Dormammu in the Dark Dimension, so we beat him up. Not. And then he was like getting back up when he was like, all right, we're gonna teleport out of here, and I just gotta find the right place. And then Dormammu's hand starts coming in. It's like, you know what, anywhere's better than here, let's go. And then we all jump through the portal.
Nice.
And I can't remember where we went. Oh, we went to Atalan, or however the heck you say that. We're about to
Atalan? Yeah,
we're about to do stuff with Inhumans, and I couldn't care less.
Oh man, I like the Inhumans. That show was terrible.
I've never even seen the show. I just remember
it was bad.
I remember a few years back when Marvel was just like, well, we can't make mutant movies, so we have Inhumans. They're just as good as mutants, right? I'm like, no, they're not. Like, nah, this guy is, he's, I don't know, he's got a big head. Mutant, come on, let's do Inhumans. Terrigen Mists, you like Inhumans, you love them.
You just don't know it yet. No, well, like, and that's,
love them.
That's what it is in the Avengers game. It's Inhumans and Terrigen Mists and the whole thing, and but I don't know, it works pretty well in this. And fuck, Warren Ellis, who I know he's a little bit blacklisted, right? I don't know if he's still. There was some Me Too shit with Warren Ellis that came out that honestly I don't know enough about to speak properly on. But separating the art from the artist, Warren Ellis did a Karnak book. Who was one of the Inhumans, and I could not have given a shit less about Karnak, but it was a really fucking great book. And the Jay Lee Paul Jenkins Inhumans that came out as part of the Marvel Knights stuff, out fucking standing. It was great. It's the best they've ever been.
Never been a huge fan of Jay Lee's art, right? He's the one who always has people looking down their noses at you, right?
Yeah, I suppose that's a good. That's one way you can put it.
Every single cover is just like someone standing there with their chin thrust out, like, "The fuck you looking at?" And I'm just like,
yeah,
you're wearing like yellow spandex. I'm sorry, I don't know what you want. You're on a comic book cover. I'm supposed to be buying you. Why are you looking at me like this? Stop it, jerks.
I love Jay Lee, but I remember. I think I don't know if I told this story on here or not before, or not a story, but this anecdote. But when I was a kid, one of the few times I spent some time with my dad, we went, and the little corner store that was around the corner from his house had a Mortal Kombat machine and a spinner rack of comic books. And like, we just went and hung out for like an hour in this fucking corner store, and we played Mortal Kombat, and I grabbed some comic books on the way out. And one of them was like, I got Sleepwalker there, and like kicked off my mad passionate love affair with Sleepwalker. And one of the other ones was a Spider-Man comic that was guest starring Iron Fist that had a cover by Jay Lee. And as a young kid, I was like, I have never seen anything that's looked this cool before, because it was all edgy and shit. And I've loved him since then. But I get it. Like, I get how he's not for everyone. That Inhumans book's fucking great, though. I will die on that hill. That is an excellent book. Worth reading.
I feel like John's gonna dig Black Bolt, right?
Yeah, Black Bolt's really cool.
I just want to get to the point where I can show John that was the beginning of World War Hulk. Black Bolt like yelled, just basically like whispered at Hulk and they sneezed at him up to the moon, and then Hulk jumped back and was like, I didn't come here for a whisper, I came here for a scream, and then beat the crap out of Black Bolt.
And fucking World War Hulk is good. Like, man, but that's the thing. Black Bolt is such an interesting character, man. Like, somebody who whispered, like, his power is so devastating that he can't communicate. Like, that's deep. Like, there's some pathos there.
It's very rogue, and I'm not saying that there's not good to be had in the Inhumans. It's just I've never seen them done in a way that they're just such kooky ass looking characters. Like, they are
weird looking.
There are no cool looking Inhumans that I have come across besides even Kamala Khan, who's such a great character, but like, she's goofy as hell, which is one of the things I like about her. But
yeah,
there's no just inherently, like, even Karnak, like, yeah, he'd be really cool, but he's got like that really big head going on. Like,
it wasn't terrible in the Warren Ellis book. Like, his head's big, but it wasn't so silly the way that it can be at times.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to get right, but I'd like to see somebody get it right. You know, if we're gonna do this, I'm sure we're gonna get around to Inhumans again at some point. They're gonna, if it isn't already officially decanonized, that Inhumans show is not going to be a part of the world anymore.
No.
And we're going to get around to that. So,
such a shame. Ramsey Bolton was really good in it. Everybody else was terrible. Ramsey was good. I don't even remember who the fuck he was playing now.
I don't remember either. I just remembered it all looked really, really bad.
It did. Oh, fucking Ramsey Bolton. Maximus, that's who he was. Maximus, the brother. Yeah, he was good. Anyway,
anything else of importance? We've got a big old 10, 20, 30, 40.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Video game related. We watched. What the fuck did we watch? Willy's Wonderworld. Willy's Wonderland. Is that what it's called? What? It's Wonderworld, Wonderland. Whatever. It's a Nicolas Cage movie that's basically the FNAF movie. But they didn't use FNAF licensed characters. Nicolas Cage is oh my god, it was so bad. It's fucking awful. All right, so Nicolas Cage is driving down the road in a fucking sports car, gets a flat tire, gets towed to a repair shop, dude. Spoilers, by the way, for anybody. Like, I am going to spoil this because it fucking doesn't matter. But if you want to watch it and not have it spoiled for you, gets his car towed to the repair shop. Guy says, Nicolas Cage goes to pay him for the repairs with his credit card. He says, "Oh, we only take cash. Sorry, you don't have any cash. So make you a deal. I'm gonna take you over to Willy's Wonderland. You spend the night, you clean it up, and the guy who owns it, he'll pay to have your car fixed. Okay." So Nicolas Cage agrees. They go over. It's a Chuck E. Cheese style Five Nights at Freddy's, Fazbear's Pizzeria kind of thing. With Willy the Weasel is the main character. Okay, Willy's the main character, and then there's like an ostrich and an alligator and a siren and a knight and just a bunch of like really, and Oh my god, the costuming was so bad. They didn't look like animatronics at all. They looked like fucking people in suits and whatever. It's fine, whatever. This big, vaguely racist bear that was there. It was super weird. But
the best kind of bears.
Right, he vaguely racist. If it's a super like overtly racist bear, that's not okay. But like, definitely some stereotypes going on. So Nicolas Cage agrees. He goes in to Willy's Wonderland and, agrees to clean the place up. And he starts cleaning the place up. And, like, one of the animatronics attacks him. And he fucking kills it. Like, doesn't even think twice about it. Just beats the shit out of it. Rips the fucking, like, mechanics out of its neck. Puts it in a bag. Goes to throw it out. And finds out that he was locked into this place. All right. Meanwhile, Sheriff's daughter and her group of friends are going to burn Willy's Wonderland down because they think it's an evil place and it's a terrible thing in their town and yada, yada, yada. All right, so you have to get a bunch of kids involved, right? Because it's a horror movie, so you have to have a gratuitous sex scene where 2 kids get killed by fucking night while they're having sex in this really weird room. And, like, short story long, there was a group of people that worked at this Willy's Wonderland place, and they committed satanic ritual suicide to transfer their spirits into the bodies of the animatronics because they were all like evil, like murderers and pedophiles and all that shit. And they inhabit this place, and they were killing children that would come to the party in the super fun room. There was a bunch of like missing persons things that happened, and they shut the place down. And then the animatronics were going into the town to murder people. So the guy who owned it, the tow truck driver, and the sheriff all made a deal with Willy that they would set it up to where they would bring sacrifices to him. Nicolas Cage was supposed to be one of Nicolas Cage was supposed to be one of those sacrifices. But things didn't go as planned because Nicolas Cage becomes the hero, saves the day, kills everybody, rides off with the sheriff's daughter at the end. Super violent, super ridiculous. It's a terrible movie, and Nicolas Cage does not say a word. The entire film, he speaks 0 lines. He grunts every now and again as he's like punching someone, or he's like, ugh, as he gets fucking hit. No lines at all.
I feel like Nicolas Cage he's just down for anything.
I feel
like if you call up Nicolas Cage and you find a way to get in touch with him and say, I'm making a movie, and he's, before you say anything else, he's just like, where you need me to be?
I'm in. All right. It's so bad. It was so bad. But I kind of loved it in the way that I loved Evil Dead the first time I saw Evil Dead. It is nowhere near as good as, quote unquote, good as Evil Dead is. Tiff fucking hated it. She was like, oh my God, why are we watching this? And we were watching it to see if the girls could watch it. They could not. Because there's just a bit, they still get really, it's not
we
even
have
because
a degree
there's
of
like
quality control in this house.
No, that has
watch it because I won't allow it.
Has nothing to do with it. There was a couple parts where the violence was just a little like there were a couple parts where, even as ridiculous as it was, they are still like, they're going to be 12 in May. They would have been like legitimately kind of scared by it. They wouldn't enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the kind of scary where it's still fun. There's some like really graphic violence in this movie. So that I'm more I was way more concerned with the violence than I was the like somewhat gratuitous sex scene. There's no nudity, nothing like that. Like, it's a couple kids kissing. Like, okay, it's a horror movie. You know what I mean? That's they have the internet. I'm sure they've stumbled somewhere at some point. You know what I mean? I'm not crazy, but yeah, I would highly suggest a watch. It's like an hour and a half. It's a fucking experience, man. It's terrible. Oh, there's a Spanish turtle. That one was really weird. Man, it's weird. There's this whole weird subplot where like Nicolas Cage, and it's never fucking explained. His watch goes off at like specific intervals, and he literally stops whatever he is doing. In the middle of fighting one of the animatronics, his watch goes off, the alarm goes off, and he stops and goes into the break room and starts playing a pinball game and drinking a soda. And then when the alarm goes off again for his break to be over, he goes back to kicking ass. Fucking weird, man. It's weird.
Well, it's definitely stranger than what I watched.
Yeah, I mean, if you know a guy, and you do, you know a guy, Chris, that's where you can watch it. The rest of you, I got nothing. You're going to have to find it. But
Are they going to have to, though? Like,
no, I really should. I really feel like this is a movie that more people should see. You should watch a Nicolas Cage movie in which Nicolas Cage does not speak. That's a weird... You've never seen him do that before. Promise. You've seen him be great. I don't know. Has Nicolas Cage ever been great? I had this conversation with Tiff. She thinks he was great in The Rock. I don't know that he was great in The Rock. The Rock is great. I don't know
like
that
he was great in Kick-Ass.
Yeah, he's pretty... See, great. I don't... He's pretty good. I don't know that I would say great. I haven't seen Kick-Ass in so long.
Yeah,
I've never seen
here.
Face Off. I know
remember
that's one I
enjoying
should
Face
see.
Off.
I know I should see
even
it.
at the tender young age of seeing that movie thinking, this is really stupid, and I kind of like it.
Yeah, like, I'm not a big Travolta guy, you know, except, like, old Travolta or, like, Pulp Fiction Travolta. Other than that, I'm not big on Johnny Boy. I don't know that... Do I like Nick Cage? I don't know if I do. I like The Rock.
I don't think I really have an opinion on Nicolas Cage, other than he is one of those people that people really seem to gravitate towards.
He is, like, he seems like a likable dude. The fucking National Treasure movies are great. I don't know that he's great, but they're great movies. Insofar as what that type of stupid heist movie is. You know what I mean? Like, love that. I don't know. Everybody should watch this movie. He doesn't say a fucking word. Like,
that's wild.
I mean, you see things like Con Air, and in Con Air, Nicolas Cage is making choices. Like, he's making a lot of choices in that movie. And in this movie, he is also making choices, but they are to not fucking... and, like, was that the script? I wonder... Or did Nicolas Cage just get in there and be like, look, I'll do this movie, but I'm not saying any of this stupid shit. Wouldn't it be, I'm not going to say anything. This whole movie, you're going to give me $50, I'll shoot my shit, and then I'll be out. Man, I don't know. Everybody should watch it.
I do have to just complete sidestep here and say that the trailer for the Suicide Squad looks pretty good.
Oh my God, it looks so great.
I'm kind of excited about that, which is weird for me to say because I've not enjoyed any DC movies with the exception of Shazam for quite some time.
I haven't even seen Shazam because I'm not gonna like it. I don't think.
I think you might. I mean, it's not great, but it's a cool little superhero movie. I dug it.
I mean, I liked most of the original Suicide Squad. It wasn't great. It was just left to being great. I really liked the Birds of Prey movie. That one I actually did really like. The Emancipation of Harley Quinn.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I liked that. Rosie Perez. Anything that has... I have a weird thing for Rosie Perez. I don't know what it is. Watch anything that Rosie Perez is in. She was actually really fucking good in it too. Yeah, I don't know. I fucking Sylvester Stallone is Shark. Hand. But it doesn't look like the Suicide. It looks like Guardians of the Galaxy with a bunch of different characters. I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? Like I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really get. I mean, it's got a similar vibe, but just I don't know. It seems like I don't know what to make of this. I just think it looks like fun, and Peter Capaldi's in it. That's great.
Everybody is in it. You and I are in that movie, Chris. I don't know if you know this.
We got that
We're
cameo.
In it. We do. Great.
We're the Mario Brothers. Oh boy. All right, let's see real quick. I played a little Mario 35 this evening, probably for the last time since it's being destroyed. It's being murdered in a couple of days. So Mario will be dead. No more Mario. Yeah, it was fun. I like Mario 35. I'm going to miss being able to just like jump into that for a little while and have a hoot. But
yeah,
maybe Nintendo will sell it again someday, or maybe it'll disappear like the BS Zelda games from the Satellaview. Who knows?
Most likely.
So we've John is still obsessed with Metroid, which is great. We finished Fusion. He thought the ending was really cool. But just like me, he was like, yeah, it wasn't as cool as the ending of Super Metroid or the other things. Like the Omega Metroid being there was neat, and it was cool that the SAX sacrificed itself or whatever, but it wasn't. He really loved Fusion. He just loved Fusion. He just wasn't completely blown away by the ending. And then he's like, all right, let's play Metroid Prime. I'm like, okay, all right, let's do it. So plugged in the Prime trilogy. Took me a minute or two to get used to the controls again. They really do work. I would still, now that I have played more games like that, I would still vastly prefer to be doing this with a dual analog stick.
Yeah.
Like not even close. But like, especially like the modern stuff like they did with Doom, where you've got, or even like the aiming in Breath of the Wild, where it's dual analog and then you've got the gyro to help with the aiming, like precision aiming.
Yeah.
That is the way to do it. And I want to play this game properly remastered, because like there's so much that's just kind of wrong with the Prime trilogy, especially the first Prime, that was like the HUD's sort of stretched to fit.
Yeah,
widescreen.
It's a little wonky.
There are a couple of things that are just kind of, they didn't really expand the camera. They, like when you're on an elevator, Samus is kind of squished because they stretched instead of actually expanding the vision, right? 99% of it is great, and it is still, I am just still completely blown away by how good this game is. Like,
yeah,
Metroid Prime is such a good game, and it still looks so good. And I think that was, I was having a conversation about that with somebody at some point online about like, that's where you draw the line with retro stuff.
With you PS2. And I were having that conversation.
But this was a different one. It was a point that I had heard, was that the point is that you can't call, this is where the line ends with officially ending with retro games, because GameCube games still look good. Like, if you took, it was a screenshot of Conquer Live and Reloaded on the original Xbox. Like, this looks like a modern game,
right? And
yeah, all right, that's fair. I guess you can still. It's weird to draw that line of where do you draw the line of retro, but I think that's an interesting point. Like you were saying something about like arcade ports or whatever, but I like the look of like, no, this just looks like a modern game. If you just like Mario Galaxy or whatever, you clean that up, it doesn't look that different from Mario Odyssey, and it's several generations removed, and it's because
but it's definitely not a retro game.
Yeah.
Like my whole point for that was that up until like the PlayStation era kind of stuff, like really the PS2, but you make the argument before that of like, there was still a large market for ports of arcade games, whereas with the newer generation, it was home console games. Like they were made for the home. They were never in the arcade. We weren't dealing with ports of things or adaptations of things. Mm-hmm. But then you even simplified it further than that. If your system was built with a CRT in mind,
and
that makes the Wii a little weird. But if it doesn't come with HDMI, then it's a retro console.
Yeah, I also like that. So, but yeah, anyway. Metroid Prime is a goddamn masterpiece. That game really holds up. It is so good. So I'm just having a ball with it, other than sitting back and with my Wii Remote nunchuck, and like it really is cool how it works, and it does work so well with the aiming and the moving around like that. It does feel very keyboard and mouse, but the lack of buttons, and they handled it really well with like changing the visors and the guns. But I do miss playing it on GameCube and being able to like press a button to change the different visors and the different guns, like instead of holding a button and pointing to a spot on the screen. Like you can still do it almost as fast, but it's not quite as seamless.
It almost kind of felt like a step back in a way.
Kinda like
Which
I understood
is
it.
Weird.
Because it needed to be done. There needed to be a way to do it faster than trying to fumble your way to the other buttons that were on the Wii Remote the way you were holding it. And this was a brilliant conclusion. Like, and it works 99 times out of 100. I can switch to the wave beam or the ice beam just as fast as I could by just moving over and tapping the right analog stick, which should be used for aiming. But that's there again lies like, how do they solve that problem in the other with a dual analog system? But maybe you just hold down a trigger and then press one of the buttons, and that's how you change it. It's correctable, but the whole thing where like they cut it into these like gigantic areas on the screen. Like if you just press the button, you go back, you default back to the regular beam, and if you just hold the button and flick up, you're going to land your cursor in the giant section that changes it to wave beam or to ice beam. So it's like, it was really, really smartly done, and it works, just not quite as well as it did before. But the trade-off of playing it like this as opposed to playing it on the GameCube it's no question to me, because widescreen is awesome. Yay, widescreen. I would have been fine to play it on my CRT in full screen, except I played it again on the GameCube, and the fact that it's not dual analog, the fact that you can't move that way, was driving me nuts.
Yeah, it's really hard to go back.
It really is, because I kind of understand why they did it that way to begin with, because it's that hard-headed Nintendo thing. Like, no, we need to make this. It's not a first-person shooter. It's a first-person adventure, and it's going to control the way we want it to control. And
we're going to be dicks about it.
I beat the game on the GameCube. I beat Prime 2 on the GameCube, so it's totally doable, and it made sense at the time. But now that I've played modern first-person shooters, going back to not having that second stick of looking around, like, and the Wii version is just the better way to play it. Like, there's just no question about it. I can look around corners when I'm moving around. I can move the way I want to move in a first-person shooter, and that's great. I just wish they would port it to Switch. Seeing how great Galaxy looked on that collection. Oh my God, Metroid Prime, up-res. You don't even need to do anything to the visuals are fine. Just do exactly what you did to Super Mario Galaxy, and that's great. Obviously fix the HUD, make it properly widescreen. Like, it does need some remastering, some retooling, but you don't need to remake the game. You just need to make it for real HD and widescreen. Because that's the other thing. It's still not HD. Like, it looks great because I'm playing it on my Wii U, which is connected via HDMI, but it's still not inherently an HD game. And that's what's mind-boggling to me. This would look so good. It has to happen on the Switch. I'm just begging. But this also kind of got me on a trip where a while back I was reading those Nintendo Power comics to John as bedtime stories.
Yeah.
And which
is awesome.
We never finished the Super Metroid one because I didn't want to spoil that for him, right? I didn't want to go anywhere with that. So we read the first issue and I was like, yeah, but we're going to stop this one. So now that we've gone through Super Metroid, I went back and read that. It was cool. It was, it's a comic book of Super Metroid. It was a good time. It reads like a 90s comic, which is great. And the art's wild. It adds some weird new characters and stuff, but it got me thinking, like, I've never read the official Metroid manga before. So I tracked that down online, and I've been reading that at night, and it's pretty cool. It's very interesting. It actually takes it revives characters from that Nintendo Power comic, which is really interesting to me. I think there's only one character from that comic that didn't make it into the Metroid manga, but specifically the Chozo that was like Samus's mentor as a character named Old Bird. And Old Bird is very much in the Metroid manga. So I'm still kind of at the beginning. I've been reading it at night and, before I go to bed. So I don't get that far in it. And there's a lot more of it than I thought there was. But it's pretty interesting. You get to see the whole thing where Samus is a kid and her dad's, mining a fluorite, I think is the whatever he's mining. And the space pirates show up and Ridley shows up and blows everything up. I'm reading this, fan translation because it's never been officially translated to English, I don't think.
I was going to say, I didn't think it was, but
and it's pretty good. There's a couple of weird, statements that I'm sure weren't the official intent, or more like just straight translations. But either way, it reads great. It's really interesting, and I'm glad I tracked it down and I'm finally reading it because it's given me some pretty cool backstory into Samus and her world that isn't Other M.
Well, yeah. Speaking of, real quick, as an aside, did you watch any of the first episodes of Invincible that came out?
I did not yet. We are working on, obviously we're doing Falcon and Winter Soldier, but the rest of our time is being spent on Resident Alien. Which, if you haven't watched that, you should.
You have said, I will, at some point.
Wonderful. But we're almost done. And then after that, we're probably going to go to Invincible because it looks great. And I've never read the comic, and I hear it's great. And I'm
really?
Yeah, I never read the book before, so I don't know what I'm getting into, and I'm pretty excited about it. So, but I did watch the first episode of Playing with Power.
How was that?
It was really interesting and a lot longer than I thought. It was it was like an hour and a half long in the first episode of it. I think.
No shit.
It was definitely pretty beefy, but it was. I kind of had an assumption of what it was going to be, and it was a lot more in depth than I expected because it went all the way back to the playing cards. It went all the way back to the actual beginning of Nintendo and went through like those years as thoroughly as I could have possibly imagined it going through them. Like it didn't just say they started here and then they did a bunch of stuff, then they made some toys. Now let's talk about the NES. Cool? Wasn't that neat? Let's talk about the NES. But they didn't. They spent as much time as they could have reasonably spent on, because a lot of the beginnings, like the very beginning of the company was interesting. And then like there was a period of like 50 years where it just wasn't all that interesting because they were just making playing cards. And they didn't do anything special or unique until the Disney deal. And they did all of that. They really went through. We're diving back in the 1800s and we're 1889. We're getting right here. We're going to show you everything that we can that was of note up until this point. In the first episode, like I said, was like an hour and a half long, and it didn't even get to the launch of the NES yet.
Wow.
Like, the next episode is the launch of the NES. Like they ended on like, and the Famicom happened, and then they had to figure out how are they going to get into there. And like, Brett Weiss was there, and Tommy Tallarico was there, and Leonard Herman was there. And I'm like, we've interviewed these guys on our show.
We know these people.
Yeah, we know them. That's pretty cool.
And they didn't bother to talk to us about it, but
it was really cool seeing
Brett couldn't throw us a fucking bone. Whatever, Brett.
Seeing Leonard Herman's collection was pretty awesome. He's moving relatively close to me. And I am going to go to his house and drool over his stuff at some point because he's got so much stuff. But they
gonna like go to his house and touch his things,
all of them,
even if he doesn't want me to. It's very antagonistic of you, Kris.
Yes, indeed. All right, let's take ourselves a break, and when we come back, we are going to dive into the March 10, 20, 30, 40. You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from geekade.com. Stick around. And now, here's a quick look at some of the other original content available now from our partners and geekade.com.
First up, you guys from Jersey, you like playing video games, right? Of course you do. You're here listening to our show. Guys and girls, I suppose. Be all-inclusive.
Well, the question is, do you like guys from New Jersey playing video games?
Oh, I didn't even read it right. Yeah, sorry.
And that's okay.
Very tired, Kris. Do you like guys from New Jersey playing video games? Of course you do. you're listening to us. And we're guys from New Jersey, play video games after all. Well, if you've been listening to this show for a long time, you may remember, long time ago, way back in the day, which was a Wednesday, by the way, you might remember a nice fellow named Mike, who was once co-host round these here parts. Mike hasn't disappeared into the vastness of space, as some of you may have thought, and when he isn't making life-altering decisions on his podcast, The Dude, a Lord, and the Truth, he has actually been trying his hand at streaming games on Twitch as the Nintendude NJ. Head on over to twitch.tv/NintendudeNJ and give him a follow. Do it for great justice, and of course, for the free entertainment as well. Mostly for justice.
Yes.
Justice is important.
The greatest of justice.
The greatest of justice.
Next, on an all-new Waveback podcast, Matt and I delved into the depths of the MSX computer system. If soundtracks to classic Silver Label Konami games or Ultra Games titles for NES like Stinger, Metal Gear, Skate or Die, Track and Field 2, The Adventures of Bayou Billy, and more are your style.
Love it.
Get that Bayou Billy in there. The music of The Treasure of Ushas, that's right, it's pronounced Ushas according to Banjo Guy Ollie. Because I asked him, because I had no idea what I was doing. The music from The Treasure of Ushas for MSX is definitely for you. It's also a little on the short side because there isn't a ton of music in the game, but Matt and I made the most of it, we think. It was late and we were tired, but
we made a meal out of it.
We made a meal out of it. The music is awesome, and so is the music. Check out Waveback, episode 125, The Treasure of Ushas, right now on geekade.com or wherever fine podcasts are sold.
Wait, we sell this? Son of a bitch. Finally, on this week's episode of this week's
V-Bucks, right? What is that stuff? The
V-Bucks? No, Bitcoin. NFTs.
The NFTs, that's right.
We're selling it for NFTs. Non-fungible tokens.
Yeah, so you could own this episode of the Waveback podcast, theoretically.
Yo, can we fucking start doing that?
We should start selling episodes of the podcast.
Can we start selling NFTs of the show? I'm not even kidding. There's a bunch of dummies making a lot of money doing this, Chris, and I would like to retire.
I would like to be one of them.
I would like to be one of those dummies I was in Wawa the other day, and there's this fucking guy behind me in line just talking real loud on his phone with his mask down, so I wanted to punch him in the throat. But regardless, he's talking, he's this fucking like older mook in Jersey. And he's like, yeah, I don't fucking know. I got my nephew. He's retired. He's in like his early 30s and he's retired because he got involved with that Bitcoin and doggy coin or something. I was like, fucking Dogecoin, asshole. Even I know that. He was like, I don't know. He fucking invested a lot of money, bought a house and a car and a boat. We're going over to my fucking successful nephew's house because he bought virtual currency. I don't fucking know what's going on. Like, sir, put your mask back on, but continue to be entertaining. This is wonderful.
Pulled up a chair in the middle of Wawa. Bought a bag of popcorn.
Who are you talking to this loudly about your nephew? It's a weird conversation to be having. Middle of the Wawa. Anyway, I'm just saying, we should sell some non-fungible tokens. I love the name non-fungible. That's great.
It sounds like you're messing up the word fundable, but
it does.
You're not, but it sounds like you are.
Because it is...
Even the word itself sounds fake. I hate
it.
Everything
It is a
about
fungible thing that is not fungible. Fucking really excited about it. I'm going to make a bunch of dumb shit and sell it. It's going to be great. Finally, Chris, on this week's episode, the Twepcasters are subjected to Chris's pick this time around, and in true Chris fashion, he chose fucking Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode Pod People, where a monster named Trumpy goes on a killing spree in a forest full of poachers, a terrible rock and roll group on vacation, a mother, uncle, annoying kid combo living in a cat. Maybe it was that guy. It was that dude from Wawa. And more fog than the movie The Fog. How did it fare with Karen, Evan, and Angie? We don't know because this episode doesn't record until tomorrow night, but it will be posted before this episode of SAG airs because time isn't real. Neither are birds. Don't miss this week's episode 228, title to be announced, because like we said, we haven't recorded the episode yet.
Looks like you stepped in some Trumpy Dumpy.
Oh my god. Duh.
Oh, I love that show so much, and that episode just fills my heart with joy. It's such a bad movie. For all this great content and more from us and our partners, be sure to keep your eyes on Geekade.com. Okay, we're back, and it's time to get into our old time machine and travel to 10, 20, 30, and 40 years ago and talk about important games that were released back then. And so first up, we're going to go to March of 2011. It was a better time, a more exciting time.
A happier time.
The time before I learned that Balan's Wonder World was the name of the game and not Balan's Wonderland, which is what I thought it was, because that's just what I read when I see that word.
The demo wasn't terrible. It really wasn't.
I will choose to agree with you, even though I didn't play it, because it didn't look like something that was something I wanted to do. So, March of 2011? Yes.
Yep, that's what we said.
What do we got here? We've got some, Pixel Junk Shooter 2. I don't know anything about it, but people like those games.
Yeah, the Pixel Junk Monsters and the Shooter and Pixel Junk... there was a couple other ones. I forget now.
Well, I think the first really big important one to mention that you and I won't have much to say about is Pokemon Black and White. Came out in March? Is that a thing? Do Pokemon games come out in March?
I think so. It's a Pokemon game, man.
Yeah, yeah, those are always big deals. And I was obviously working at the time. I just don't remember it coming out in March, but who the hell knows?
There are Pokemans in it. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it was great, because I'm sure it was exactly the same as all the others.
We had the double dose of Major League Baseball 2K11 and MLB 11 The Show.
Was 2K11 the one where they were like, all right, you guys don't know how to make baseball games anymore? Is that the last year? I think maybe? It was. Because there was one year where it was hilariously bad.
Was it just 1 year? I feel like there was more than 1 year of this franchise where it was like, I think the first one for Dreamcast, like 2K1, was hilariously bad. Like, you couldn't control fielders in the game.
Yeah.
Like, fuck it, we're just not going to let you do this part of baseball.
Because we didn't fucking program that part.
Like, well, that made sense back in the NES days, kinda, but like, even they got past this. Why can't I do this? I don't know. Fuck you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was this one that was just garbage.
It was released on Windows, PS3, PS2, PSP, Xbox 360, Wii, and Nintendo DS.
Yeah,
that
sounds about right.
Let's see. A bunch of stuff showed up on like PSN, like Mega Man 3 and Ridge Racer 4.
Man, I love the Ridge Racer games.
I don't really have any, what's the word? Experience. Sorry. Dan and I have gotten very, very sleepy. So it's a good thing we're starting this now.
That's right. That's why I'm drinking. That, just in case you were wondering, Chris, this beer is great. For anybody else in the New Jersey area, Ship Bottom Brewery's Peanut Butter Banana Imperial Stout is good stuff.
That's too many words for a beverage. I don't want anything I drink to have that many words in it.
I mean,
I'm supposed to explain it to people. What did I drink tonight? Chocolate milk.
I would.
2 words, Dan. 2 words.
You would turn your nose up at a peanut butter banana milkshake.
Peanut butter banana milkshake. Yeah, that's too many words.
Fuck you. When you make your chocolate milk, Chris.
I don't like bananas either.
Really? That's fucking... that's understandable. Bananas are a weird texture. I get that.
Yeah, I'm
fucking love them. I adore bananas. When you make chocolate milk, what syrup is your preferred syrup? Because there is actually a correct answer.
It's Hershey syrup.
You're fucking wrong. You Bet is the only one that you should put in your chocolate milk.
Nope.
Oh, you're so fucking wrong. Have you had You Bet chocolate syrup?
I haven't, but it doesn't make Hershey's chocolate syrup any worse.
No, you absolutely... I don't know if you get it down by you, because I know you're still in the... It's a weird tangent question. What's the Jewish population like where you are, Chris?
Don't know.
I don't know what that has to do with you bet. But
I've
I know that
never seen You Bet in stores, and believe me, I've looked around because, if I'm out of if the store is out of Hershey syrup, or at least something else is on sale, I'll consider it. But at the end of the day, Hershey syrup in 2% milk is my chocolate milk of choice, and it's got to be like
2% milk.
Yeah,
why bother? It's whole milk or nothing, Chris.
Whole milk's too thick for me.
That's what she said.
At that point, I may as well be eating cheese, right?
No, God, no.
Start mixing some Hershey syrup at half and half. Go the full fucking 9.
No,
I'm not drinking skim milk because I'm not just drinking chalk water. I just want something with a little bit of milk in it,
Skim milk, which is water. It's lying about being milk. You bet seems to be found in areas that have a higher Jewish population than others in what I have found in my travels throughout New Jersey. I don't know if there's any direct correlation. You bet is also the only chocolate syrup that you can use to make a proper Brooklyn egg cream, which is just a delightful experience that everybody should have. You bet is the fucking world. Anyway, moving on.
Okay. I drink chocolate milk every night, and it's got to have like an inch of chocolate at the bottom.
Oh, 100%. I'm getting you some fucking You bet. And some whole milk. Like a fucking real man.
Yeah, no thank you. I'll try the You bet, no question. But it's not going to turn me off of Hershey syrup. It's not going to turn. I've been drinking Juicy Juice since I was 5 years old. You're not going to change me off of something else I've been drinking my whole life. I'm a fucking weirdo.
You are a fucking obstinate son of a bitch. Yes, you are.
I like what I like.
Even if it is demonstrably better, you'll be like, nah, I'm not fucking changing, though. I'm not doing that.
Well, I'm not going to start importing it from out of town when I can just go to BJ's and get 600 gallons of Hershey syrup for $5.99. There just becomes a certain cost-effective nature to it.
It's a good point. It's worth it, though. It's fucking worth it. Have you ever had a Brooklyn egg cream?
I don't even know what that is.
Oh my God. It's fucking weird.
I lived in Brooklyn. I don't love eggs in dessert form, so
there's no eggs in it.
Here.
There's no eggs in it. It's seltzer water.
Egg cream sounds like something I'd find on the floor.
Yeah, no. It is seltzer water, whole milk, chocolate syrup, all mixed together. It's fucking delightful.
That does not sound... Where does the egg come in?
I don't know. No idea. That's what it's called, though.
I'm offended.
That's what it's called.
Fucking liar of a beverage.
It's been around forever. It is a delight. It is a treat. Love it. God, it really is. It's really good. My grandmother used to make them for me when I was a kid. And there's a way to mix it where the foam that gets up on the top of it, because it gets very foamy because you're mixing a carbonated liquid. The foam stays like bright white. Like looks like egg whites almost when you whip them. Maybe that's where the egg cream thing comes from. But I have never been able to do it right. The only two people that in my life have ever been able to do it right are my grandmother, the meme, who was this just unbelievable fucking crazy person, and Tiff. Tiff can do it right. I can't fucking do it. Every time I mix it, I just mix too fucking hard, or I don't know what I do. Look it up on YouTube. Brooklyn egg cream. It's outstanding. Anyway.
Meanwhile, on PlayStation 3,
sorry.
Hardcore Uprising was released. The Contra game that's not a Contra game. I've still never played this.
No, I've never played it either, but I don't like the name. That's just too aggressive.
It's also like modeling itself after my least favorite Contra game besides Contra Force. So, yeah.
Which is your least favorite Contra game?
Contra Hardcore.
Oh, Hardcore. Yeah.
The one that the two of us played together and hated.
Fuck, that game sucks. I was trying to make the best of it, but it's just not fun.
I did not enjoy it. I guess I can kind of understand why some people do, but I am not those people.
I'm not a masochist, and I don't begrudge people. I'm not kink shaming, but goddamn.
Also, the pseudo sequel, I guess, to Okami Den, came out on Nintendo DS, and it's kind of weird because Okami's been ported to like everything, and this one has not. And I feel like people liked this game quite a bit, but not many people played it.
I really wanted to love Okami more than I did.
Same here.
It's the fucking gibberish. That game is,
it was for me. Just
that game's for me. That game is for me.
It seems like it should be for you. It seems like it should be for me too, but it
really does.
I've never been able to did on PS2, and I was like, this doesn't feel right. And then it came out for Wii. I was like, oh, all right, that's gotta be right?
It's gotta be it.
The
With
Wii
the
remote in your hand
controller
with the
and- yeah.
just no, it still didn't work for me.
I don't know. Maybe I'll get it if it's ever like less than $10 on sale. I'll grab it.
Let's see. Blah 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 blah. What else was super important? Angry Birds Rio.
Dude, not for nothing. Those early Angry Birds games were great.
Yeah, they were kind of fun.
They
I enjoyed
really
the
were.
original
Angry Birds when they
Angry Boards.
Angry Boards. Fucking just throwing the boards, you know? You gotta knock down the shit, Chris.
Just imagine Plank from Ed, Ed, and Eddie, like Angry Boards. Oh, it's the Tony Hawk Angry Birds. Angry Boards.
Angry
Just flinging
Boards.
skateboards.
I'm saying you can't. This is the point where I am now, Chris. My head is in my hands and I am rubbing my eyes very strongly right now because that's how tired I am.
Let's see. Crisis 2 is a thing. Dissidia 012 Final Fantasy. Like,
sure.
Okay, sure. Why not?
Never
pile
played
it
the
on.
Crisis games. Never played that Final Fantasy game.
Monster Tale. This was kind of cool. I never got around to playing it because I never really had access to it. I just didn't want to drop full price on it at that time. I don't remember why, but this is one of those like really interesting DS games, kind of like Henry Hatsworth, where the top half is one thing, the bottom half is another thing. I think this game's getting ported to Switch soon. That's kind of cool. Man, there's a lot of shit came out in March. What was Ghostbusters Sanctum of Slime? What's that?
Oh, I played that one.
Twin stick shooter developed
No, I did not
by
play that
Behavior
one.
Santiago. Published by Atari for Windows, Xbox Live Arcade, and PSN. All right. Oh,
I
my
wanted
goodness.
to play that one. It was not the Ghostbusters, like, because it wasn't even a follow-up to the Ghostbusters game that came out, which was pretty dope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've never played this one. Probably should.
All right, going to skip a bunch of this stuff to, let's see, Third Birthday, which was that Parasite Eve sort of follow-up.
Oh, yeah.
That didn't go anywhere.
No.
Dynasty Warriors 7, they kept making those. NASCAR, the game, 2011. Turn left, the game.
Whatever.
There's a Russian attack, like Expatriate. That's neat. A platform sequel to the original Russian attack. I had no idea that happened.
Wasn't that like Xbox Live Arcade?
It was PSN.
Was it? Or PSN?
Oh,
Yeah.
and then it came out on Xbox Live Arcade like 2 days later. That's wild. I
Yeah.
don't even remember that happening.
I think I played this and like I remember playing, like being excited, like, oh fuck, there's a new Russian attack, and then like playing it and being like, no, this isn't it. This isn't. Nope. Nope.
You missed.
Swing and a miss.
All right, so super important. The 3DS launched March 27th.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so
I
let's
love
see.
the 3DS.
Oh, love the 3DS. What a fantastic platform. Launched at too high of a price, and Nintendo
Way
did
too
an
high.
amazing job of course correcting. They were like, this is what we think this should cost, and this is what we're going to do. And then they did it, and people didn't buy it. And that was like the legendary thing where they were like, we fucked up. Let's make this right. We're going to slash the price. We're going to give a bunch of free games to the people who paid full price, and we're going to take some pay cuts until shit gets back on track. Like, mad respect on that. But the launch of the 3DS, I enjoyed this launch. It was a really weird launch, right? We've got Asphalt 3D, Bust-A-Move Universe, Combat of Giants Dinosaurs 3D, Lego Star Wars 3 The Clone Wars, Madden Football, Nintendogs plus Cats, Pilot Wings Resort, Pro Evolution Soccer 2011, Rayman 3D, Ridge Racer 3D, Samurai Warriors Chronicles, The Sims 3, Steel Diver, Super Monkey Ball 3D, Super Street Fighter 4 3D Edition, and Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Shadow Wars. That's a weird launch lineup, man.
It's a super weird launch lineup.
Like, not a Mario in sight. That is
But
something.
it's Steel Diver.
Steel Diver's neat, man. That's
Very
neat...
similar to Holy Diver by Ronnie James Dio. Almost exactly the same thing.
Here's an interesting thing about about a couple of these games, right? Steel Diver is a really neat game that shows off with it works with the 3D effect really cool, and it is never officially dropped in price and has never been put on the eShop. Pilot Wings Resort is if you're a fan of the previous Pilot Wings games, don't be turned off by the fact that Pilot Wings Resort reeks of Wii Sports Resort, because it kind of does. The music is very nice, and the game is 100% plays Pilot Wings. Like, it is a Pilot Wings game. I like that game. Has also never officially dropped in price. That game is still full price on the 3DS eShop, which is complete insanity to me.
You. That is dumb.
Like, I get it, Nintendo. You do your thing, but that is a launch title. It is time. That game stopped. That game did not, like, retain its value. People stopped buying it. Lower the damn price already. Let more people have that before you close the eShop. Nintendogs plus cats, like, that was a big deal. How is that not their first mobile phone game?
I don't know. I really don't.
I am flabbergasted that franchise, like, it's not like this second one, like Nintendogs and Cats, didn't do well. Why'd they stop making that?
I don't know.
Why isn't that on Switch? What's wrong with you people?
It's weird. It's weird.
It doesn't have to be all that involved. Just make it a thing. It's Nintendogs plus Cats. Just port that damn game to Switch, for crying out loud. I would buy that for my daughter in an instant.
Instantly.
No question.
Instant-fucking-taneously.
Really nothing else jumps out at me as being impressive except for Super Street Fighter 4, which was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Super Street Fighter 4 to begin with, but then this was like a fully functional, portable version of Super Street Fighter 4. Loved it.
Yeah.
Played the heck out of it.
Nothing bad to say about it. Yeah, you're 100%
very, very
right.
Cool. Well, that's 10 years ago. That was a heck of a march, man.
It really was.
Quite memorable. So let's see what happened 20 years ago. March
20.
2001. So we're looking at stuff like PlayStation, Nintendo 64 are still hanging on. We're at the rear end of those. Dreamcast and PS2 are out. So let's see. The Nintendo 64 was really in the death throes at this point, but it had its audience. And they served that audience well with Pokemon Stadium 2.
Pokemon Stadium 2 is good.
I will take your word for it.
It's good. It's fun, man. Pokemon
people
Stadium
love those
is fun.
Stadium. Yeah, the people love those stadium games.
Yeah, they were a good time, man.
There was also something called Aiden Chronicles, which was sort of in like adventure-ish action RPG, I think. Not really something that I played or I think anyone liked when it came out. It really got overshadowed because, again, we're in the back end of N64. That system was like in the death throes. But most importantly, on the Nintendo 64, in March 2001, we saw Conker's Bad Fur Day.
God damn it, I love that game. I know I shouldn't. It's so childish and sophomoric, but there's such a joy and love in it.
Isn't it a bit early in the day to be talking about gothic architecture?
It fucking starts with a Clockwork Orange. Dude, like, oh man. I fucking
Some
love
of the
that
humor
game.
does not still hit, but so much of it still does.
So the Great Mighty Pooh is just funny.
It is that is a masterpiece of a boss battle.
It's just funny. It's very similar to watching some of the old Monty Python shit. Like some of the old Monty Python shit just is not funny anymore. Like, but what hits so hard.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely jokes in Conker's Bad Fur Day. I'm like, okay, you're bouncing on the boobs of this flower. It's all right. But then there's gothic architecture. No, Birdie. Like a bird. Beardy. I'm Greg the Grim Reaper. Don't laugh.
That's great. It's fucking great,
really
man.
Good stuff in there. I remember when this came out, man. I was so excited for it, and nobody, like the 5 or 6 people who still had N64s that weren't just like kids, bought this game. And
yeah, my roommate in college at the time, like we drove to GameStop in fucking Mays Landing, the one that I eventually worked at, and he dropped like $90 on that game or whatever the fuck the cart was at that time. Crazy.
I think it was it still no, it was GameStop at this point.
No, it was GameStop
right?
at that point.
Because PS2 was out. Yeah, I was still working there at the time.
That was like $80 or $90. Probably bought it from you. Fuck, I don't even know.
Expensive shit, and I loved it. I did not buy it because I think I got it. I didn't buy it. I think I got like the store copy or something.
I stole it.
So I don't have a box or manual for mine. No,
when
we
you
didn't
work
get a store
at
copy of
GameStop,
this.
You just take shit.
No, this is not one that I had a store copy of. So I've never been able to piece together why I don't have a box and manual for this, because I have the cart. No, I definitely bought it. I don't know what happened to my box and manual for this game. That's obnoxious. Anyway, over on the PlayStation.
One of these days we're going to have to go through the stories of people that we know that worked at GameStop and all of the things that they stole from people who traded games in. Oh boy. I got some stories. Anyway, go ahead.
PlayStation had a less interesting month, I think, which is weird because it's PlayStation, but PS2 was out by this point. Not that PS2 had a great month either, but the original PlayStation saw the original DDR, big deal, so that's cool. But then outside of that, you got Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Rogue Spear, Army Men World War Final Front.
Oh, God, those Army Men games were they were Thanos, man. They were inevitable.
They were unstoppable and everywhere. And the triple play baseball. I don't know, was that good? Do people like triple play baseball?
It was okay, but it was getting so close to MVP baseball, which is still, as much as I love the show, I fucking wet dreams about MVP baseball.
I remember really people loved MVP. I remember that quite well.
It was so good. MVP was so good. There is still a community for the last year it came out was 2005. There is a community online that still plays the PC version, and every year they release updated rosters, and they have since 2005. There's a whole online community around it. They play tournaments against each other. It's fucking nuts, dude.
Well, speaking of tournaments, the Dreamcast was also kind of like really getting long in the tooth, which was sad and unfortunate, but here we are in March 2001, and we have 3 releases for the Dreamcast. We got Unreal Tournament, which was kind of a big deal. It was online, and
it's Unreal.
I think it was online. We also got Daytona USA 2001
Son of a bitch.
Bangai-O! I mean, that's a niche game if there's a niche game, but I remember playing it in the store and being like, that's kind of cool.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still sad that Dreamcast is not around.
Yeah.
Like, or whatever Sega was going to, because, man, they just had some really interesting shit. And, like, it's not like those games don't exist other places now, but there were just games that felt very Dreamcast of the time. I don't know.
Yeah, that system had a very distinct personality, and
it did.
Nothing else has that personality now.
No. Aspects of it, but...
Well, then we have the PlayStation 2, which had an okay month. We had Shadow of Destiny.
Oh, you know how much I love that game.
I do. I know how much you love that game. We had The Bouncer, which...
don't love that game.
Yeah, don't love that game. Triple Play Baseball, also on PlayStation 2. The original Onimusha Warlords.
Do love that game. Yeah, I like that game a lot. That's Resident Evil with samurais.
Yep.
There you go. I'm into that.
We had the triple punch of Army Men Sarge's Heroes 2, Army Men Air Attack 2, and Army Men Green Rogue. 3 Army Men games for your PS2 in
it was
month.
Absurd.
What the hell?
It was absurd. The amount of Army Men shit. None of those games were good.
I think
I know somebody's
them
gonna...
like $15 to make, and 15 people bought them.
Oh man!
So as long as like they kept selling that many copies,
I know. Like, what was it? The first Army Men game came out, and people were like, "Oh, this is cool and this is fun.
Right.
It's like the little Army Men. It's kind of neat." And then they just didn't stop.
3DO is like, "Wait, we got a hit. Keep them coming. Yeah, let's make one of them
They are
sexy and
still-
Portal Runner, and we're gonna give this other guy a big chin and call him Sarge. Yeah, we're just gonna milk this shit. We need a helicopter spinoff. We need like a stealth spinoff. We need Army Men. We just have to keep throwing games out there before people realize we're still throwing games at them.
Before people realize that these are being made by 3DO. Like, they're still making new Army Men games for fucking Brazil on PS2. I'm 100% convinced that that's... I don't know that that's true, but I know it for a fact.
Oh, let's see. Quake 3 Revolution, the port of the Dreamcast game MDK2, and the Metal Gear Solid 2 demo came out, aka Zone of the Enders.
Man, so first of all, fucking Zone of the Enders is great. Love that
But
game.
nobody knows that because everyone
nobody
bought
knows
it
that.
and then immediately played the Metal Gear Solid 2 demo.
Yo, and still, not for nothing, that Metal Gear 2, that Metal Gear... oh, boy. At Metal Gear Solid 2 demo was insane.
It was amazing. It was worth the price of Zone of the Enders. Like, even if you never played the game, it was worth just buying that to play that demo. And then it looked amazing. It sounded amazing. It was just like, this is going to be the most epic, amazing thing I've ever played. And then you get the game and you're like,
what?
Never mind.
The good fuck has happened here.
Oh, you thought that the game was going to be anything like the demo you bought? The beginning of it is.
But then you play
Welcome
through
to
the rest
Ride.
of the game, and it's actually really good.
It's great. It's great.
great.
It was just such a crazy. I love that curveball. That was such a mean ass thing to do, and there's no better way to like turn people off, make your game divisive than to release a demo and then the full game is like, all right, you play through the demo again and a little bit more, and now the rest of the game is absolutely nothing like what you just did.
That's right.
Fuck you.
But it's so good.
Yeah, it was a really good game. I like Metal Gear Solid 2.
It's so good.
Lolly Lulelo. And then over on the Game Boy Color, still kicking with Mickey Speedway USA. Way to go,
Hell
Game Boy
yeah.
Color.
Good
to go.
job, you.
All right, so that's March 2001.
It's
Let's
not
go
bad.
back. Let's go back. That's 10. That's 20. Let's go 30 years ago.
30
We're talking
fuck years ago.
30. Yeah, we're talking NES, Genesis, TurboGrafx, etc. We got some important stuff. Really important stuff happening this month. But before any of that, we're going to talk about NES. NES got Wampum, which we now know is related to the Wonder Boy franchise, and the less said about that, the better.
The so uncomplicated Wonder Boy franchise, now that we've explained everything and forgotten about it.
And also in March 1991, we got Power Blade. It's a pretty good game.
Oh, love Power Blade. The
Over
game
on
is just continuing to go up in value, and eventually I will sell my copy of it and laugh at whoever buys it.
Laugh at whatever chump spends
That's
that
right.
money.
Hopefully none of you. But if one of you wants to buy it, I'll let you know when it's a high enough price. You chumps. I love
The
you all.
Sega Genesis looked like it only got one release. We're still in pre-Sonic the Hedgehog mode here. And the game is Crackdown, which I don't know anything about.
Is that the fucking Daffy Duck one?
No, not Quackshot. Crackdown, like the Xbox game, except 2 words.
I don't know anything about that. Sorry.
Let's see. Crackdown for Sega Genesis. What are you? It's an arcade game of some sort. Oh.
See, this is what I'm saying. The arcade ports, man.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. I understand what you were saying about arcade ports. Just, I consider certain other things to still be retro, minus the arcade ports.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I'm looking it up right now. Fucking
Sarge's
Power Blade on the
Creation.
NES loose is $68.
It's a lot of dollars. Yo, this
That's
game looks
absurd.
weird. This game looks nothing like Crackdown for Xbox.
It looks exactly like
It looks like it's
Crackdown
about diffusing bombs. I don't know.
That's
This is
kind of
weird.
cool.
All right, over on the TurboGrafx 16, we got Super Star Soldier. That was a good game.
That's a very good game.
It's a
God, there's
solid
so many good shooters. If you were into shmups, man, TG16 is where it was at.
You are not wrong.
I rarely
Followed by
am.
Genesis. But yeah, mainly
Followed by
TurboGrafx.
Genesis, but yeah.
The Game Boy, original black and white Game Boy, had the crappy port of Bubble Bobble.
Which is impressive. It's impressive to make a shitty port of that game. Right, there's not much going on.
You didn't have to get that one wrong, but I think it didn't have the 2-player mode, even with the link cable. Like, you just no, we're not doing that 2-player.
Didn't have to close your eyes and swing. Could have kept them open. Chose to close them. It's a bold move, Commander.
On the other side, though, you got the excellent Burger Time Deluxe for Game Boy. That was a really cool thing, if I'm remembering correctly. Burger Time
Burger Time's
Deluxe.
Awesome.
But like Burger Time Deluxe was like, it functioned like kind of like it was like the Donkey Kong 94 of Burger Time.
Yeah.
Like they took the Burger Time formula and just like did it better and kept going with it, and it was really cool.
See, this is what I'm saying though, Chris. Like, we do this 10, 20, 30, 40, and every month we get to a point where we mention something like Burger Time. I'm like, fuck. Really wish I had a stand-up arcade machine that I built myself where I could just go fucking play. I got to get on this. Because now I want to go play Burger Time. But I don't want to play like an emulated version on my computer. I want to play an emulated version on my own arcade cabinet. That's what I want.
Well, play an emulated version of Burger Time Deluxe on Game Boy, because it's an excellent
Or that too.
Flavor of Burger Time.
But like last month or the month before that, we were talking about fucking Moon Patrol, and I was like, God damn it.
Moon Patrol's great.
Just want to go play like arcade Moon Patrol or Defender when we were talking about that a few times ago. It's like, God damn, I just want to stand up in my garage, fucking play Defender. Is it just me? Just me, Chris? Am I the only one?
I don't think so. I think lots of people are like you. Let's see. Over on the Atari Lynx, we had a couple of releases. One was Block Out, which is the game that 3D Tetris is a shameless ripoff of.
Okay.
Well-tris, whatever you want to call it. It's the Tetris game where you're playing Tetris from the top of the well, and it's all in 3D.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty solid version of that for the Lynx.
It works, yeah.
Yeah, it works. It looks very nice. It's very readable. It's pretty cool. Also on the Lynx, you got Checkered Flag, which was was it an F1 racing game, I think? Checkered Flag for Lynx. Yeah,
Sounds
it's an
like
F1
Final
racing
Fantasy
game.
Title. Final Fantasy Checkered Flag 782.
Yeah, it needs way more syllables for it to be a Final Fantasy game. It's got to have some sort of crazy, fractions in it and stuff.
9/12. What? Why did you do that? Reduce that shit. What's wrong with you?
Considering
Why would you not write that in its lowest common denominator, you fuck brick?
This is exactly how I'm going to teach my son math.
John,
fucking prick.
Fucking prick, what's wrong with you? Writing 9/12. 3 goes into both of those. How many times 3 go into 3? 3, that's right. Fuck. 3 go into 9. Shit, I'm tired, Chris. 3/4. Reduce it. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Putting it all together.
Considering how old the game is, it's pretty solid. But what's really important is what was happening in arcades this month. And I did not realize, I had to double check to make sure that these 3 games happened in the same month. In March of 1991,
wait,
arcades...
let me guess, because I'm not looking at the list.
All right.
War Gods, because that game was great. World Heroes, and the fucking horse racing simulator.
Most definitely. And the dildo in the ass simulator in Japan. That
God, that one's so good.
Now, March 1991 gave us The Simpsons, Turtles in Time, and Street Fighter 2.
Oh, fuck you. Come on. Like, I know shit is better today, but was anything better than the 90s? I submit to you that it was not.
Walking into an arcade in March of 1991 that got Street Fighter 2, The Simpsons, and Turtles in Time. I had no idea those games all came out in March of 91.
That's not fair.
That's crazy.
That Simpsons Street Fighter 2 was fun.
Goddamn revolution. But yeah, Simpsons is amazing. Turtles in Time was ultimately better on Super NES, but four player in arcades, and still goddamn great in arcades. Like, still holy crap. Fun. All 3 of those games are insane.
Yeah, I mean, like, Street Fighter 2, like, I know everybody knows how important Street Fighter 2 is. I don't know if anybody knows how important Street Fighter 2 is. Sony just bought Evo. That's how important Street Fighter 2 is. Sony bought Evo.
Yeah,
that's
they did.
Crazy.
It's now a PlayStation event, and I'm sure that's not going to have any adverse effects on Evo.
I'm sure it won't.
It's going to be great. It's not going to be a PlayStation event. It's just
Smash Brothers, fucking PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royal. Yeah. Maybe they'll make some new fighting game. I don't fucking know. Maybe we'll get a new War of the Monsters out of it. Considering there's a Godzilla movie. Who the fuck knows? I'm just Street Fighter 2.
Don't pull your back out stretching for that one. Oh my god. The Terry amiibo came out.
Oh, did it? That's
yes.
exciting.
I have a Terry Bogard amiibo, and it's fucking amazing.
It's very exciting.
I got the Banjo one too because I'm a whore, but the Terry one is the one that excited me more than anything. It's so goddamn cool. I love that there is a Terry Bogard figure in my house. It's great. But yes, it's hard to really put into words how revolutionary Street Fighter 2 was. It was when the first time I played it was on Super Nintendo, and it was just this. I had never seen anything quite like it. Like anything similar to that before that I had played was like a few minutes of Karate Champ and Urban Champion. Like,
yeah,
the concept of these two characters,
not the same.
It's not. Two characters always facing each other, like the idle animations, like gearing up for the fight and everything. Like it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
It's so simple.
And not
it's so simple and it's so great.
Yeah. And not to minimize it, because that was easily the most important thing. But like also The Simpsons, like,
yeah, that is a banner month.
Because the original Ninja Turtles in arcades was one of those watershed moments. That was like, what? Because it was we had grown up on that cartoon, and they didn't really use their weapons and blow up the foot ninjas in that cartoon. It was all about throwing sausages around and stuff, like whatever they could do to get around using their weapons. It was slapstick. But man, that arcade game was seeing the Ninja Turtles be ninjas. Oh my god, it was amazing. So then you apply a formula like that to the fucking Simpsons, which was huge that property was insane at that time. People were doing the Bartman and shit, like
it's another thing that's really hard for anybody, and I know our audience is certainly older, so they understand this, but for any of the younger members in our audience who know that The Simpsons exist, but it's just that weird show with the yellow characters that you see every now and again, and like you don't really have any love or reverence for it because it's inexplicably still fucking on. My god, was The Simpsons important? Like, important, huge property. And that game just works on so many levels where it shouldn't work. But it just does. The fucking team-up moves. Oh my god. So good.
It was such a fun beat-em-up. I love it. Why does Smithers have a cape? Who the fuck cares?
Who cares?
It was made by Konami.
Oh, so good.
So that's March 1991. It's not a lot of games, but boy, the heavy hitters were heavy hitters.
Man, does it need to be?
No, it doesn't.
I miss arcades. I really do. I would never do it. I would never do it again. I'm not fucking touching a bunch of shit all you dirty people have touched. You kidding me? Lived through a pandemic. It's fucking gross.
I'm going back to an arcade as soon as I can. No question. Once I feel it's safe again, I'll bring my my Purell with me and go to an arcade. Absolutely. Miss it.
And think about how grody the arcades were when we were kids. Fucking dust-covered fingers, just eating whatever the fuck, like grabbing some slice of pizza from the fucking mall.
Yeah,
going down to the arcade.
All kinds of grossness. And we lived through all of that.
Oh, God. That's why none of us are, like, we're all good. I don't get sick. I played fucking Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat regularly.
And I didn't use a plate. I laid the pizza right on the arcade.
Some
right on the
people
cabinet.
did, dude.
It's
Like,
great.
you just slap it down real quick. Put your fucking cheesesteak or whatever that you got from Philly cheesesteaks in the fucking mall. Put your Zeppelis down. Oh, good times, Chris.
All right, let's finish this off and travel back to March 1981. I was only able to find 4 Atari 2600 games. I didn't find anything else for any other platforms released specifically in March of 1981. We've got Stellar Track, Tennis from Activision, Laser Blast, and Video Pinball, which we covered last year because I didn't have the year. I didn't have the date right, but I believe March 1981 is the closest to actual date. So let's break this down here. Stellar Track for 2600.
I do not know that.
I'm drawing a blank on this one. Let me take a look at it. Stellar Track. This was a Telegames release. And I don't know what I'm looking at. It's just a bunch of text. What the hell is Stellar Track? Do I have this game?
Call Ferg. Get
Yeah,
Ferg
seriously,
on the line
Ferg,
now.
when you listen to this, jump onto the old the Discord, and let us know what this game is. Has he covered this on his show? I'm sure
we need to have a Ferg phone.
We do. We need to have like a
not
Ferg
like a
button.
bat phone. Now that we're doing this shit, like going back into this and hitting these old Atari games, we need to have Ferg on speed dial. Ferg, if you're cool with it, text me your number. Text me your number because you have my number apparently. I'll get my number out on the air right now. No.
All right, I have this game. This is interesting. According to GameEye, this game goes for $14 loose. That's kind of a lot for a 2600 game, but it's a.
This is my favorite thing about doing this segment. I have this game. No idea what it is, but I have it. Love it.
Oh boy, yeah. So it's classified as an adventure / shooter. I have absolutely no idea what this is. That's weird.
Yeah.
Because I just looked up a YouTube video and it's just a bunch of text and numbers on the screen. So it's I don't know. Anyway, Tennis for Atari 2600. That was an Activision joint, if memory serves.
It's hard to make a bad tennis game.
Well, back in these old days, it actually wasn't that hard to make a bad tennis game.
Fair.
Like,
that's fair.
This was one of the first ones I think that did the tilted court. You know, like
oh yeah.
The thing was that this was before Nintendo kind of perfected this. Like this game came out, and there was one for like SG-1000. There was something else in arcades that really kind of nailed the whole thing of making the ball change size when you hit it.
Yeah.
So that you could tell it was moving back and forward. And even though the people in the back kind of had a bit of a disadvantage, that's why you couldn't play 2-player on the NES version, but it was still they kind of nailed this formula.
Was this the one where you didn't swing the racket, you just got close to the ball and it automatically swung?
That I'm not sure of. I feel like you do swing the racket in this one.
Bloop, 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 bloop.
But it moves it moves at a pretty nice clip. Like it's a pretty fast game. I mean, this was Activision knew what the hell they were doing, man.
Yeah,
they made some really great
did.
2600 games, and this is a solid basic tennis game for 2600.
Yeah, it was super fun, man.
I like this one.
A lot of those old tennis games. I jokingly say, but tennis games are really fun. There's just a really inherent fun factor in tennis.
Agreed. Hit a ball
Video
back
game
and forth.
tennis, not actual real tennis. Ugh. You gotta
No, I don't.
You gotta
I don't
use
do
your
that.
legs. Ew. Gross.
All right. So next up is Laser Blast for 2600. This is another Activision one. Like Activision, they knew how to make games back then, man. It makes me so sad to see what that company is today, as opposed to what it was when it started. And Laser Blast isn't one that I had when I was a kid. I didn't get this one until later, so I have very little experience actually playing it. But I do love the laser effect in this one. If you can just pull up a YouTube video if you've never seen it before, the laser effect is really cool. It's one of those kind of lighting things that the Atari 2600 was capable of that the folks at Activision just had this great trickery with doing stuff like the Activision skyline in the background, and the laser on these just has a really cool glowy effect to it when you shoot it, because it doesn't look like the fuzzy laser from Contra for NES or anything. It really does look like a laser. It's just this really quick line that does that really quick color change to make it look like it's glowing. It's a really, really awesome effect. This is a pretty cool game.
I'm looking at it right now. That looks great.
That's a cool little effect, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's so weird, like, looking back at these games. I was like 8 months old. No, God. When did this came out in 81, we said,
March
right?
of 81. I wasn't born until June, so. I
was born in October of 80. So October, November, December, January, February, March, March. I was 6 months old when this fucking game came out. Like, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
You know? It's fucking dope.
Yeah, those Activision 2600 games, for the most part, really do still hold up.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a good game or not, but
I mean, this one looks like fun. But cool. I mean, I think of any of the Activision games that I used to play, like Mega Mania, Pitfall, etc., and they're always at the very least interesting, like Plaque Attack and whatnot. But the last one was a color box Atari 2600 game, published by Atari, Video Pinball. We covered it last year, so I won't go in great length, but I love Video Pinball. I played the heck out of this game. It's weird. There's no question. It's a weird shape for a pinball game, and I think that Midnight Magic eventually did it better, even though Midnight Magic doesn't seem to be as well loved by a lot of Atari fans as it is by me, but which I don't understand why. I think Midnight Magic is such a great video pinball game for 2600. I love going back to that game. But Video Pinball is also really, really cool, and it's got probably my favorite Atari 2600 box art as well. Like, it's just gorgeous. I have it framed on my wall. From the Art of Atari poster book that was released. I did Video Pinball is one of the ones that I took out to frame on my wall. I have, what do I have here? I have Asteroids, Football, Star Raiders, Video Pinball, Missile Command, and Millipede are all framed up here, and
it's pretty dope.
Wonderful. And that's it. Ta-da! 10, 20, 30, 40 covered. And it only took us 456 hours.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Now we're still under the 2-hour mark. We're good.
No, we're great.
We are fantastic. But that's going to be our show. Join us next week when Dan and I will be kicking off a 2-year epic extravaganza of Stone Age starter kits. Dan, tell them what's up.
So we decided that you, the listener, were going to be magically gifted a system and $100. And being the codependent listeners that you are, you had no idea what to spend your money on. So Kris and I are going to give you what we would pick if we had $100 to spend on a system. What are the games that we would suggest that you go and pick up? And we are not going to talk about it with each other before we get to the show, so it'll be a surprise for both of us. I'll be really curious to see how many similar games we have, how many, just completely different things we do. We are starting with the Atari 2600. We are going for a solid 24 months on this. It should be really cool. I'm legitimately really excited about this.
I'm pretty stoked about it too. I think it was a great idea, and it's going to be fun to chat about because, well, isn't it fun to pretend that somebody gave you $100 to spend only on video games? And $100 is a weird number considering, like, we're talking about retro game consoles here. So we have 2 years of these planned, and it's going to be the first episode of each month, except, this month when we screw up and it's 2 days in, it doesn't really count. So whatever.
Whatever.
But, beginning of each month, we're going to do this for about 2 years. And like $100 doesn't go that far with certain platforms,
No, it really doesn't.
So it's going to be interesting where we're not going to be like, no, you have to spend your $100 on this one game. We're just going to try to go for best bang for your buck and come up with a list of, if this is the money you have to spend, this is where we go. So anyway,
I'm using price charting for the most part to find prices on my games. A little bit of eBay where if I can't find something or there's like some discrepancies, like I'm trying to cross-reference and be as accurate as possible, right? Because obviously there's going to be fluctuations, and where we start, like, you know, might suggest a game next month, and in 6 months from now, it's like, well, that shot up to $600. Like, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But we'll try to be as accurate as possible. I think it'll be really cool, and I think it'll be really cool to hear from you guys too. Once the episodes come out, like, what would you guys grab for $100? Or like, what were the big obvious things that we missed? Like, oh my God, how could you not include fucking Zork, you assholes? You know?
Yeah, let us know what we missed, because we will invariably missed something. Anyway, we are on most social media platforms, and if you want to get in touch with us, we aren't very difficult to find. All it takes is a quick look at our show notes, and you'll see links to our social media accounts, as well as all manner of other fun stuff, like a link to our namesake, StoneAgeGamer.com, the Geekade Patreon, which helps keep this show running week after week, and more useful links than you can shake a joystick at. This show's theme song, Squared Roots, was written by Banjo Guy Ollie. You can learn all about his wonderful music and more by following the link to his YouTube channel, also in the show notes. And finally, as always, we'd like to thank our intrepid editor, Evan, for making the show listenable for all you folks, and we'd like to thank all you folks for listening in the first place. That's it, everybody. On behalf of Dan and myself, keep playing games.